So if you're going to fix your defense, bringing in the guy who helped lead the best one in the NFL over the last couple seasons, well, that's definitely a start. Out is Mike Smith, in is Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks the last 2 years. Smith guided the Falcons to a pair of NFC South titles, 4 trips to the playoffs, and an NFC Championship game appearance. But Atlanta was just 10-22 over the last 2 seasons. Bad drafting, bad personnel decisions, and injuries led to the downfall. It was supposed to be a bend but don't break defense, but it became shattered beyond repair. It's a defensive unit that finished dead last against the pass and 21st against the run last season. They put up just 22 sacks, the second fewest in the league, and Kroy Bierman led the unit with just 4.5. This led to Atlanta to drafting the best pure pass rusher in the draft in Vic Beasley. To help the pass defense, the Falcons selected cornerback Jalen Collins in the 2nd round. Quinn also brought in several free agents, including defensive ends Adrian Clayborn and Tyson Jackson, and linebackers Brooks Reed and Justin Durant. They say that you can't win in the NFL without an elite quarterback, and Matt Ryan is one of the most consistent ones in the game. But without a defense and a lackluster offensive line, he's not the one to blame. It's Matt Ryan's, Julio Jones, Desmond Trufant, and not much else. But the trading up of Jones is actually a reason why the Falcons have collapsed defensively. Atlanta moved up from 27 to 6 and gave the Cleveland Browns their 1st, 2nd, and 4th round picks of the 2011 draft and their 1st and 4th round picks in 2012. Obviously, that meant the Falcons had fewer draft picks to hit on good defensive players, and out of the limited ones they had, there haven't been too many hits. And speaking of the offensive line, Atlanta brought in Kyle Shanahan to be its offensive coordinator. The Falcons will shift to a zone blocking scheme. Shanahan wants fast and mobile linemen. It's going to take some time. All right, so before I go position by position, I've got all the rankings below. I've got numbers by the players. I've got unit rankings, where they rank in the league. I'm going to have the prediction below as well. I'll get to that later, though, in this video. So, obviously, let's start with Ryan, who's thrown twice as many touchdowns as interceptions in his career. He's your prototypical pocket passer and is at his best throwing the intermediate routes. He can make every throw and gets the ball out quickly. He's a very good decision maker but struggles with pressure in the pocket. He's not very athletic, isn't very elusive. His deep ball is okay, but he'll float it sometimes. He's always been on the cusp of being elite, but he just hasn't gotten over that hurdle yet. He's very, 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 very good. TJ Yates will back up Ryan for a 2nd straight year, and Sean Renfree is the 3rd stringer. With the release of 32-year-old Steven Jackson and the departure of Jacquizz Rodgers during free agency, the Falcons don't currently have a go-to back, but there's a crop of young guys, and the team is hoping one of them emerges by season's end. Devonta Freeman is probably the most complete back at the moment. Antone Smith is the most explosive, and 3rd rounder Tevin Coleman is the future. The 4th rounder from a year ago, Freeman is just 5'8", but isn't shy of running between the tackles, while Smith has their home run ability every time he touches the ball. Coleman can do a little bit of everything and has the best hands of the trio. Jones followed up an injury-plagued 2013 with 104 catches for 1,593 yards a year ago. He's big and fast, but he doesn't get into the end zone as much as you'd like for an elite receiver, finding pay dirt just 6 times despite having the 4-time Pro Bowler, but steadily declining Roddy White on the opposite side of the field. White is 33 now, but he can still contribute because he sees less coverage due to the eliteness of Jones. Harry Douglas was the longtime number 3 man, but I feel like Atlanta has upgraded with the acquisition of Leonard Hankerson. He's 6'2" and fast. He just needs to stay on the field. His last 2 seasons have been cut by injury. I love 4th-round rookie Justin Hardy. I can see him replacing White in a few years. Tony Moeaki and Jacob Tamme were picked up in free agency at tight end. Moeaki can catch and block, but has played just 7 games the last 2 seasons. Tamme will get some targets, though, as Shanahan likes to use his 2 tight end sets. Jake Matthews struggled as a rookie at left tackle. He was flat-out bullied. He's a bit undersized. The starter at left tackle, though, right tackle, though, Ryan Schraeder, is very underrated. I love the mean streak he plays with. Mike Person, Chris Chester, and John Asamoah are fighting for the 2 guard spots, although it appears that Asamoah might be the odd man out. Joe Hawley will start at center. He plays with an edge to him and is working his way back from season-ending knee surgery. I referenced Beasley earlier and how I believe he's the best pure pass rusher in the draft. He's been adding on weight to attempt to help him in run defense. Tyson Jackson will start opposite Beasley. The former run-stuffing 5 technique is seldomly pushed backward at the point of attack, but has never been known as a pass rusher. Clayborn and Bierman will be part of the rotation at defensive end. Clayborn has, always been a productive player. He plays with leverage against the run. He's a reliable tackler. Paul Soliai and Rashede Hageman are the defensive tackles at 6'6", 318. Hageman is massive, but was slow to pick up on things his rookie season. Soliai is tough against the run, but he's limited athletically. Durant, Brooks Reed, O'Brien Schofield were all picked up in free agency, with Durant and Reed starting at outside linebacker. I actually think both players are underrated. Durant can play all 3 positions, while Reed is a very solid run stuffer. Middle linebacker Paul Worrilow was 5th in the NFL with 142 tackles. He's good against the run, but awful in coverage. Joplo Bartu is another linebacker off the bench who is best against the run. And going back to Worrilow for a second, he had 142 tackles, but that kind of shows why the number is a little bit overrated. I don't think he's that great, but yeah, that's just me. Trufant is the one shining star on that Falcons defense, and his play really amazed me considering how non-existent Atlanta's pass rush was. Possesses great range, speed, and instincts in man coverage. He's tough, his hips are fluid, and he's extremely confident. He doesn't have the best hands, but is always in position to make a play on the ball. Trufant put up 61 tackles last season and does a solid job at setting the edge. Defending the edge. Second-round draft pick Jalen Collins, he's being groomed to be his counterpart, although Robert Alford may start the season at corner. At some point, however, I believe Alford will be moved inside. Adams is the team's nickel corner at the moment. Collins is long, he's aggressive, but he's got rigid hips. We'll see what happens with him. I wasn't high on him going into the draft, but we'll see. But to get him in the second round, though, is, it's a bit of a steal because he was supposed to be a first-round pick. William Moore will definitely be the strong safety. He's an enforcer who isn't the best in coverage. The other safety spot will be between Ricardo Allen, Kamal Ishmael, and Charles Godfrey. Matt Bryant and Matt Bosher are solid at kicking and punting respectively, while Devin Hester is obviously still one of the best returners in the game. All right, on to prediction time. I feel like I might get heat for this. I am still not buying the Falcons. I know that a lot of Falcons fans are getting excited because the defense looks better in preseason. Some of these new acquisitions seem to be panning out. But as I've said in Eagles videos that I've done, sometimes you got to temper your expectations, in preseason because you're not seeing the exotic play calling, as a defense. All the offenses are very, very vanilla. Preseason is to evaluate players. It's to evaluate the first and second year players. And a lot of Falcons fans are getting excited. And they've also played, I believe they played the Titans and the Jets. Those were the first 2 games. And it's like, all right, so you played well against those 2 teams, but those 2 teams were 2 of the worst offenses in the league last year. So how much can you really take away from that? So I still think it's going to be a really bad defense. It's going to take some time with the D-line. We'll see with what happens with Reed and Durant. Even though I like both of those players, you still got to learn a new system. You got to have some patience. Beasley, it's like, D ends, they take a little while. And, I think he's going to be a force down the line, but not this year. So basically, I got the Falcons at 6-10. So that's not really good. It's not what Falcons fans are expecting. I'm sure they're thinking playoffs and NFC South title. The NFC South is obviously up for grabs because such a bad division. So maybe if you go 8-8, you can win the damn thing. But I think you got to give Dan Quinn some time to rebuild the defense. I don't think it's going to happen this year. I think they're a year or 2 away. You still got Matt Ryan though, so maybe he can win you a couple games. But I don't know, man. Not Not on the Falcons bandwagon this year. Not yet. That defense is not there yet. It's not. It's Swiss cheese. It's going to get shredded again. I don't care what they're doing the preseason. So, yeah, just went on a little rant at the end of the video there because, you know, I got a friend who's a Falcons fan. He's excited and not seeing it yet. We'll see. Maybe it'll prove me wrong. But, yeah, that's it for this video. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at @TheBitterBirds. Also, you know, if you don't agree with me, because I'm sure Falcons fans aren't going to agree with me going 6-10. That's harsh. So, you know, let me know in the comment section below. Where are the Falcons going to go? Why do you think that their defense might be okay this year? So let me know. But yeah, I'm out of here. Later.